Hello and welcome to the latest episode of the Formbook. It's an Irish Champions Festival special as we look ahead to two enthralling days of action at Leopardstown and The Curragh this weekend. Remember, of course, you can watch every race live on Racing TV. Let's get stuck in. Yes, so of course the feature race is the Irish Champions Stakes, and as I said, you can watch every race from the Irish Champions Festival live on Racing TV. Our latest show was an Ebor Festival preview. Raw Fixation was a winning nap, did it well for Ed Walker in the Lauva. Hopefully more to come from that filly. In terms of the feature, the Irish Champions Stakes, 11-8 favourite is Delacroix, 4-1 for Anmar, 11-2 for Shin Emperor and Zoran, 6-1 for White Birch, who's had a nibble, 16-1 for Royal Champion, 28 for Hot as Hell, Mount Kilimanjaro, the Pacemaker, and Ruffy at 150-1. So in terms of what we're going to do, we're going to preview the Irish Champion, then give a few other selections. But let's start with the Fav. Delacroix comes into this on the back of this second, of course, to Ombudsman in that Juddmonte International. Enthralling race, Pacemaker got ahead. It thought it might be a similar reappearance to the race that we saw Curragh win in the Sussex Stakes. But in the end, Ombudsman and Delacroix both managed to get by him. Look, Ombudsman got first run on Burghcastle, but at the same time, Delacroix, he lost nothing in defeat, but equally, he didn't prove good enough. And there was no real excuses for me. But Ombudsman, as I said, got first run, but I think what he had was a more potent turn of foot, which is interesting, of course, because obviously Delacroix had previously come into the race, having impressed in the Eclipse, where his turn of foot was there for all to see when seeing off Ombudsman, who was in front everywhere but the line. My concern is that he's had a tough enough time of things, Delacroix. He's run plenty. Of course, the Derby was an early season aim. He was on the go from about March. I just have my slight concerns whether he's going to be at his optimum here, where he's taking on a few horses who've come into this over lighter campaigns, and he might just find a couple of them too strong. First up is Shin Emperor. Here he is finishing third in the Maroon Silks in last year's Irish Champion Stakes. He meets plenty of trouble here. Economics next to the eventual winner in August Rodin. He loses nothing in defeat. It was a solid enough run. And of course, we've then seen him go on to score in Saudi, winning the Neon Turf Cup. And he was behind Danon Diesel at Maidan when last seen. This has obviously been the plan to come back here. Only concern at the time of recording on Thursday afternoon is if it continues to rain in Dublin, soft ground. I think he's probably at his best on top of the ground. I think we got decent enough ground here last year, but there is rain forecast over the next couple of days. It's only light rain, but I think it's already soft yielding in places there. But he's respected. This has been the plan. He's had a nice prep here in Ireland, so there could be a lot more to come. He was impressive here when scoring in Riyadh. Look, I think he'll run his race, but I think he might just find a couple of them too strong. Next up is Zaran. He's a fascinating runner here, winning the Royal Whip, beating Los Angeles on this occasion, who was well beaten, leading home an Aga Khan 1-2. And he's a horse who's just progressing with every start. And I do like his CV. He was a good second to Amalok, of course, at Royal Ascot, previously an impressive winner at Leopardstown, unexposed 3-year-old, and there could still be stacks more to come from him, in receipt of weight 2 from some of his main rivals. So I wouldn't put you off Zaran in this contest. I definitely think he's a live each way player. White Birch is another horse to mention. Here he is on the inside of the Tattersalls Gold Cup behind Los Angeles. He's another horse who's going to be suited by conditions. Only seen him twice this season. He's already a course and distance scorer at the track in the past as well. But I think soft ground is key to him. He's a winner at the Curragh on soft. He's a winner there on heavy as well. Second to Los Angeles by a neck on this occasion, then fourth behind the same rival in the Tattersalls Gold Cup here. So look, it didn't go to plan for him on this occasion. And Marty's finishing second behind Los Angeles. He's been lightly campaigned this season. Maybe it all could come together for White Birch. He's an interesting runner. Royal Champion is the other one to mention. Here he's winning the York Stakes, powering clear to see off Almacam on this occasion. This was a career best. He's a 7-year-old, but this was definitely his best performance for Carl Burke and Clifford Lee. Still open to more progression, you think, on the back of that, given how impressive he was. But for me, I probably will be taking him on at 16-1. Hot as Hell was another horse to briefly mention. That horse has been campaigned in Group 1 company so far this year, coming up a bit short, but maybe the return to softer ground might help him out. My selection, though, I think Anmart's got stacks going for him. He's finally going to get his ground. We've only seen him twice this season. You saw his second then, the Tattersalls Gold Cup, and then second, of course, to Ombudsman on fast ground in the Prince of Wales' stakes. That wouldn't have suited him optimally. This did when scoring the Champion Stakes last year, seeing off Calandagan close home. I just think he's tailor-made for him. I think he'll be suited by the short, sharp turn in here. He's got that potent turn of foot. Chris Hayes takes the ride. Of course, this guy is by Ortad, who Hayes famously rode to victory in a couple of big races. He won't be fazed by the occasion. He's had, obviously, big success in big races on the likes of Tahira. I just think this is a huge opportunity for him. And at 4-1, he makes plenty of appeal. Prices, as you can see, going back along your screen. He's the one who's been nibbled in recent days as well. Was available at sort of 11-2 early in the week. But I think with ground conditions in his favour, it's sort of focusing on Anmart going close here. So that's the first race we've previewed. I think he's got leading claims. Really hopeful that Anmart can go close in the €1.25 million Royal Bahrain Irish Champion Stakes. So that's the first race. Really looking forward to that. Remember, that's the feature race on day one. On a busy day of action, of course, we've got the St. Ledger over here in Britain and the Irish Champion Stakes. Other selections for the rest of the action across the 2 days coming up. Yeah, first other selection is going to be Diamond Necklace, runs in the Ingabel. This horse costs €1.7 million, is related to Magic Wand and the classy, if enigmatic, Chiquita. Minerva's let this form down a bit, the runner-up and stable companion, but I just love the way she powered clear in the closing stages, was getting better as the race developed. Christophe Soumillon takes the ride, and I don't think this is the strongest renewal of the Ingabel, so I think she might take plenty of beating in that contest. 2:15 Diamond Necklace. Don't like giving too many juvenile selections in this sort of show, but I think there's plenty in her favour. Next horse we're going to look at in terms of selection is Dunham. He's available at around 13-2, but as big as 8-1 with some firms for the Sovereign Path Handicap on Saturday at Leopardstown, 2:50. And what I like about this horse, as we're about to see in the VT, he was a very good winner at Galwender, a brilliant ride from Shamie Heffernan in the Colm Quinn. But despite the fact he's advancing in his years now, I still think he's still at the top of his game. He's now a 7-year-old. He's off a mark of 98. He was previously second in this race a couple of years ago, off a slightly higher mark, 101. And I think he's a stonking each way bet, if nothing else, Dunham. You know that he'll always fight on his sword. He's got a decent record at the track. He's pretty versatile regarding grounds. So Dunham, for me, makes plenty of appeal in that contest, which is the 250. Elsewhere on Saturday, hopefully it can be a red letter day for Shadwell, because Al Arzi, I really fancy him to go close in that Group 3 contest at 350. Jim Crowley's obviously ridden him to success a lot of occasions. Danny Tudhope takes over. I think that's a nice booking. I think they'll get on well. And here he is winning the Glorious Stakes last time out. Once he got his head in front, it was smooth sailing. I just think he's a horse who's at his best in Group 3 company. He's won at Sandown and Goodwood in Group 3 company already this season. He was second to Adelaide River a couple of years ago at the track. William Haggis has a good record when he brings his horses over here to Leopardstown. And I would think that Al Arzi is a real player in that contest. 6-4 favourite. Sons and Lovers and Trust Your Instinct are two interesting horses taking him on. But the Group 3 bandit, Al Arzi, can hopefully deliver. Next horse runs in the 4:55. Just a slight asterisk reading today. Alakazi may or may not run it. Depends how much rain they get in Dublin. They don't want to run him on too soft ground. They think he's more of a top of the ground horse. But I thought Alakazi made appeal in these solo and away stakes at 4:55. Obviously, this race, there's a lot of similar form. Here he is finishing second to Skakusa, who got first run on this occasion. Take nothing away from the winner. Obviously reappears here as well. Has been kept busy. Chris Hayes takes the ride on this occasion. But he could never really land a blow on that occasion, Alakazi. And he wasn't really gaining at the line. Compare it to his second to Johan, who also runs in this. Brilliant front-running ride, I thought. Alakazi didn't look the easiest at times. He sort of lugged in here behind Mutasarref, but he got rolling too late. And I think the return to Leopardstown also helped him. I think it's a track that suits his style of running. Johan got a peach, as I said, out in front, but I thought he was the one to take out of it. And I marked that performance up just based on the way he's staying on strongly at the line. The line just comes a bit too soon for him in this contest. But Johan's respected as well. Representing Jack Channon would be another big winner for him, and they rolled the dice on that occasion. So good luck to them. If the ground isn't too soft and he does run, I do think Alakazi is a horse to focus on in that 455. And one final runner, he's an interesting one because he sneaked in. Originally in the 605, I was going to put up Lord Church for Emmett Mullins because I thought there might be a bit more progress from him. It just hasn't really happened so far. Was caught wide at Galway last time out. But the fact that Light as Air runs here, sneaks in down the bottom, 605 at Leopardstown for Aidan O'Brien, and Jack Cleary aboard. Just take a look back at this run here. He was a winner at the Curragh under Ryan Moore, who had to really roust him along, but he was well on top at the line. And I just think the Patingo over that 1 mile 5 could really suit him. He's off 92 here. But he's got £5 off Jack Cleary, taking it off his back. He could just be a lot better than these in the Patingo. So he makes plenty of appeal, Light as Air, in those colours, which have already seen success this year with Trinity College. So that's the selections then on Saturday at Leopardstown. 2:15 Diamond Necklace, 2:50 Dunham, 3:50 Alazi, 4:55 Alakazi, hopefully he runs, 5:30 Ammart, and 6:05 Light as Air. So that's day one of the Irish Champions Festival done and dusted. But we've got British Classic action at Donny. Final British Classic of the season, 11-8 favourite is Scandinavia. Lambourn at 5-2, Karmas at 9-2, 15-2 Stay True, 11-1 Further, Tarrant at 28-1, and Rahib at 33-1. Aidan O'Brien looking for his 9th win in the St. Leger, and he's launching a 3-pronged assault. Mark One's on Scandinavia. Here he is beating Illinois, who's towards the top of the betting for Sunday's Irish St. Leger. And he was very good on this occasion. He previously won over 1 mile 5 at Newmarket, and he really saw out the trip strongly on this occasion. I thought also this is good to know that he handles softer going, although the weather looks pretty dry up at Donny. But I like the way he knuckled down in the closing stages and was well on top. Mark Wand on board. I think they might get on pretty well. I think they're a partnership. They'll get rolling early in the long straight, and hopefully they can prove a bit too strong for their rivals. They include Lambourn. Here he is winning the Irish Derby, supplementing his victory in the Epsom Derby. But it was hard to be impressed with this performance because he didn't have a lot to beat. I think the horse who finished his second, the Stable Companion, was at the time rated 92. So I think he's got to improve again. He got the run of the race in the Epsom Derby, was able to lead, and he was away and gone. Here he had to knuckle down the hard way, did it well, but I didn't think this was the strongest of Renaults. Anyway, he got the job done. Then he had a gap, and then we last saw him in the Great Vulture when he was well beaten on this occasion. Stay True's on the outside. He's another horse who also runs in a Leger. He might be suited by a step up in trip. Pride of Aris is the winner on this occasion, but clearly probably the horse who's the big danger to the Aidan O'Brien duo of Lambourn and Scandinavia is Karmas. Keep an eye on him in the Green Stars. He's staying on under pressure in the closing stages for Paddy Toomey. He might be suited by the fact you've got an even longer straight at Donny, and he could get rolling very, very early. And he was staying on at the business end. Look, he's got already a decent CV. He could be open to a lot more improvement. The race IQ numbers also back him up in terms of a horse who's got a decent finishing speed percentage. But Scandinavia is already a Group 1 winner against Alders as well this season. And I just think he's the one to beat. Sean Levy aboard Lambourn. He, of course, won the race last year on Jan Bruegel. And it's folly to dismiss the Epsom Derby hero. But I have my concerns for him, really. He's obviously come back from the layoff. Maybe he needed that run in the Vulture after a couple of months off. But it was still a bit underwhelming. And you maybe just question whether his success at the start of the season, his form might just taper off. So I think Scandinavia, who's improving with every run, he gets the verdict for me in the St. Leger. There you can see, 11-8 favourite currently. Karmas is probably the one that could serve it up to him, I think, in that contest. So that's 3:40 at Donny on Saturday. That's a look at that. After this, we've got a couple more selections still to come from the Curragh on Sunday, day 2 of the Irish Champions Festival.
Away she goes from Fallen Angel Soprano. Paula Fortune is the winner. Economics and a top brilliant. Economics! Only one of the 5 in the mind there. And down the outside it is Lake Victoria who's claimed the board. That's the leader. Dashing home believing with taking a big step in the national stage. Kyprios, the superstar there, reclaims the Irish St. Legend.
Yeah, enjoy your action live. And remember, if you're not a Racing TV customer, you can start your free 1 month trial. Starts Friday all the way through to the end of the month. So if you want to get involved in that, Friday 11th September to Tuesday the 30th of September, you can watch every race live from 61 British and Irish racecourses, including the Irish Champions Festival, the Airgold Cup Festival, the Cambridgeshire Meeting, the Autumn Festival from the Curragh, Dubai Future Champions Festival from Newmarket, and Kitco British Champions Day. You don't need skies. You can watch via our large screen apps, desktop, tablet, and mobile. And all Racing TV members can go racing to over 100 meetings with a guest and claim a share in the Racing TV syndicate horse, the Lost Sock. So there's plenty to get involved in if you want to get stuck into a free 1 month trial. So the Curragh on Sunday takes centre stage for day 2 of the Irish Champions Festival. 3 selections here. Recording this on Thursday, so I've got the final decks. If he runs in the flying 5, I think Whistlejacket could maybe return to his best form. As for obviously comes into this having impressed in the Nunthorpe, but back over 5 furlongs could really suit Whistlejacket. Hasn't really gone to plan for him so far this season. He was well beaten last time out. We're not really firing at Newmarket. It was a similar story as well at Ascot. But I just have a bit of excitement about him back over the minimum. I think it's where he's at his optimum best. So Whistlejacket, I think 10-1 currently. He makes a pill for me as a bit of an each-way poke in the flying 5 on Sunday. Brief word about the Aussie Ace, which is Asfora. Of course, it was a good performance when bouncing back in the Nunthorpe, but they wanted her prime for that. And I just think anything else now is a bit of a bonus. Dylan Brown McMonagle rides the horse for the first time. Decent enough booking, but I think Bucanero Fuerte is another danger in the race, of course, and distance scorer. But let's see how she gets on. But good to see Asfora still over here, and hopefully she can run well for her Aussie connections. 2 other selections still to give. We already saw an annoying Vite in the Irish St. Ledger. He'd be one I'd be keen to take when he was getting beat in the Goodwood Cup. I'd want to take him on in the Irish St. Ledger, though, big time, without Riffer. Comes into this on the back of some really good form for Joseph O'Brien. He is a stayer now who's really at the top of his game. Had some great form last season behind the likes of City of Troy. But this was a superb performance in the Curragh Cup, having previously finished second in the Hardwick. Staying, I think he could be a new force in the staying division. This was so impressive. The way that he powered clearing the closing stages. Clearly, he's got a bit of a penchant for the Curragh, and he makes stacks of appeal. I'd probably make him my better of the whole meeting, Al Riffer, in Sunday's Irish St. Ledger. He's ground versatile, and I still think there's stacks more to come from him, Al Riffer, in that contest. 425. And the final selection in the 535 is Akicheta. Each way, I think currently a 14-1 chance. This horse just keeps knocking the crossbar. Very good second, I thought, here to Clayton Flora, who runs at Donny, I think, on Friday. So we might get a better notion of the form then. But was 4th and caught the eye at Goodwood previously. 13 runs, just the 1 win. But is really consistent, Akicheta. Ran well here again. I don't think testing ground is going to be a problem. Has form on yielding soft and heavy. So I think Akicheta makes appeal in that 535. Really knocking at the door. And just think, even if she can't win this one, she can still run a big race at around 14-1. So that's the 3 selections for Sunday. Whistlejacket each way in the flying 5. Al Riffer the Nap in the Irish St. Ledger. And Akicheta in the 535. So that's all. Watch every race in the Irish Champions Festival, as I said, live on Racing TV. Don't forget to take advantage of that 3 1-month trial if you're interested. Just hope you can hopefully find a few winners, and we've hopefully pointed you in the direction of a couple as well. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe on Racing TV's YouTube channel. We're approaching 200,000 subscribers. We'll be back for a Champions Day preview of Ascot, and then we'll be back for all the jumps action. Really looking forward to that, having a few guests on throughout the National Hunt season as well. So thanks very much for your company. Hope you've enjoyed it. Hopefully found you a couple of horses who can hopefully go close at the Irish Champions Festival. Watch all the racing live on Racing TV. And of course, please remember to gamble responsibly.